So I've decided to take it outside today, shoot this video outside. It's a beautiful morning. So what I'd like to talk to you today about is choosing and just understanding the power of your choices and how a lot of the times we can make dramatic changes to our health by just choosing differently. When I work with my clients, the first thing that I like to get them to understand is that point where they can really get that where they are has been a culmination of their choices along the years. And it's really important to own and to sort of take accountability for the fact that where you are today is because of the choices that you made. And sometimes that can be pretty hard, especially if you're not real happy with where you are. You know, and a lot of the times we can blame it on other areas of our life, or there's a lot of different areas in our lives that we can blame our level of health or where we are today in terms of our health and well-being, rather than completely owning it. And what's really important is to take ownership of it. Because the minute that you own where you are in your current space, if you've put yourself there, then you can take yourself and put yourself somewhere else. And that's what's really powerful. I'm going to teach you about how to choose. And it sounds like a funny thing, but it's actually quite important so that in the moment you're consciously choosing. I oftentimes will hear clients, and I've found that clients will say things like, oh, before I know it, I'm in the pantry and I don't realise, and it kind of, we're on autopilot. So making choices is very much about not only feeling good about the choices that you're making, that's one element of it, but also being conscious of the choices that you make. So let's start with feeling good about your choices. So when you are moving towards a healthier way of being and you're starting to make changes and you're choosing better options and you're saying no to certain things, it's really important that you feel good about the choices that you're making. Because if you feel that you're coming from a place of self-denial, you're always going to be in a sense of struggle. So, for example, if you've gone out with some girlfriends and everyone's catching up for coffee and cake, and you decide that you're going to have a green tea instead, okay, making sure that you're not hungry at that time and all of that stuff. But if you're just deciding that you're having a green tea instead, the most important thing is to feel really good about the choice that you made, not to feel bad, you know, and that sense of, why is it me? Why can't I have what I want to have? Why do I always have to pick the better choices? The mindset has to be around, I'm happy to be picking the green tea. It's doing something great for my body, and I'm really good with that. A lot of the time when I make my food choices, it's not coming from a place of having to do this or having to do that. There's certain things that I just genuinely do not want and will not put into my system. So that first point of choosing from a place of empowerment is really, really important, because coming from that place of self-denial is only ever going to last so long, and then it usually ends in a binge where you kind of have all the stuff that you've wanted for the last week or 2 weeks or month that you've been denying yourself. So the first point is about making sure that when you're choosing something bigger for yourself. And it's not saying no to chocolate, but it's actually saying yes to a healthy lifestyle and a happier version of yourself. The second part of it is knowing how to choose. And I really love teaching this because it changes everything about what you do. And I do this myself in business, making some business decisions that are particularly tough. What I find that I do is that I can procrastinate. And I know that we all probably do this in some way in our lives, but I will move away and all of a sudden I'm hungry, or all of a sudden something else needs to be attended to. And one thing that I've taught myself to do is that just to talk through the choice that I'm making. So for example, the way that it works is that if I'm working on a project and there's a timeline and I'm struggling with some decision making around it, and if I decide that I'm now going to get up and just, you know, check on Facebook, or, you know, see what the emails are, you know, doing any action that's going to distract me from what I really want to be doing or really should be doing, is I will verbalize it. So I'll say, okay, I am choosing to walk over there and do something completely unrelated to what I'm meant to be doing to allow me to complete the project on time. And when you verbalize it in that way, you find that then you start to choose a little bit differently, because what ends up happening is it becomes conscious and you're owning what you're about to do. And 9 times out of 10, it'll be like, well, I don't want to distract myself from doing that, and I actually do need to finish this project because it means X, Y, and Z for the business. So to translate that into yourself, the way that it would work is, for example, if you're going to go over to the pantry and there are chocolate biscuits there, they're in the house, and you've decided that you're going to have a chocolate biscuit. Rather than eating them really quickly and pretending like you've never actually had it, what I want you to do instead is use the words, I am choosing to. So it would look something like this. I am choosing to take one of these Tim Tams, and I'm choosing to eat it, and I'm choosing to walk further away from my goal. And what you will find is that once you verbalize it in that way, it brings it into consciousness, so you don't feel like you're on that autopilot doing a behavior at 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock that you've developed a habit of doing. But then you verbalize it, and then you can start to own whether you actually do genuinely want to do that. So when you find that you say to yourself, I am choosing to have the chocolate, I am choosing to sleep in, I am choosing, there's 2 things that happen. The first thing is, as I said, there's that conscious awareness, but the second thing is you can really own it and be cool with it. So what I mean by that is, once you've made your choice and you're like, yes, this particular time, yes, I am going to have that Tim Tam, the next step is being okay and really backing your choices 100%. And the reason why we need to do that is what it does is it cuts off the next step that usually comes with making a bad choice, and that's just completely overindulging and feeling like you've stuffed it up, so you might as well do a really great job of stuffing it up. So once you do make your choice, then own your choice and be cool with your choice. So it would look something like this. I'm going over to the pantry, I'm grabbing a Tim Tam. I am choosing to eat this Tim Tam. Yes, today I feel like it, it's whatever, I've had a bad day, or I'm using it as part of a snack, this, for whatever reason, I'm cool with it. And then you take your Tim Tam and you actually enjoy it. Okay, you take your time and you enjoy it. And then you move on with your life. What normally happens, and what I find with other clients, and I know with myself, as I said, when I'm more distracting myself from what I'm meant to be doing, then it leads into a whole bunch of other distraction. And when it's around food and people feel like they've stuffed it up, then they go into this, well, I've stuffed it up, I might as well just have another 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 Tim Tams and do a great job of it. So that's the thing that we want to cut off. The lessons of this video are, when you are choosing, choose from an empowered spot of wanting to choose health for yourself rather than self-denial. The second thing is, if you are going to choose something, bring it to consciousness by verbalizing it. I am choosing to stay in bed today and not go to the gym. I am choosing to eat that chocolate. I am choosing to drive through McDonald's, whatever it is, right? You've verbalized the choice, then you go, okay, am I going to go ahead with the choice, or has the verbalization of that brought me to reality and it's like, no, actually I genuinely don't want that. The next step is to really own it and to be really cool with it. Okay, so then it cuts off that feeling of I'm out of control, I can never do this, because you're not out of control, you just chose it. Okay, and once you've chosen it, you're going to be really cool with it. So there you go, my lesson on choosing health.